All right, here we go. It's 4.4 area of a triangle. So we're going to talk about how to calculate the area of a triangle. Here I've drawn a triangle, and if I count all these little squares across, there's 18 along the base here of this triangle, this bottom part. I chose this as the base because it's the one that actually has a measurement of these different square units. Now, I know that this is half a centimeter for each of these, but sometimes, you might not be able to use the convenient units. Who knows, maybe you get stranded one day and you need to measure something to build something and use this math out in the middle of nowhere, and all you have is a shoe. Your unit could be a shoe. In this case, I'm just going to use units because maybe I don't have a ruler that I could actually measure how big these squares are. I'm just going to say it's 18 units, and 1 unit is just one of these squares across. So one of these edges of the square, I should say, or side of the square, I should say. And then how tall is it? Well, from this point straight down, this perpendicular right angle right here, we've got 1 square, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the height of it would be 9 units. So we've got our base is 18. This length right across here, from there all the way to there, is 18. And our height right here is 9. Now, last lesson we learned about calculating the area of a parallelogram. Now we're calculating the area of a triangle. I'm going to point out something here, that this triangle, it's actually made up of 2 triangles that are put together. There's this one here that I made and colored blue, and there's this one here that is pink. If we put those together, that makes up that triangle. My fingers are sticking to it. I'm not sure why. Now, taking these pieces, I could actually turn this triangle into a parallelogram, also known as a rectangle. I could stick this one here and this one here. I'm just going to set these in place. There we go. It's curling up, I think, because of the ink of the marker that I used. But you see that that is a rectangle right there. So I'm going to draw it in. I've used these dotted lines around the edge to show that rectangle. And we remember, calculating for a rectangle, we take the height of it, or the length, or the width, or whatever you want to call it. The height is 9 units. The base, it's still that width right there, which would be 18 units. We'd multiply them by each other, and we get the area of the parallelogram. So if I do area of the parallelogram, I'm just going to draw one. It would be the height times the base, or base times height, depending which way you want to look at it, which would be 9 units times 18 units, which would be 162 units. So for this rectangle, if we counted all these little squares, every single little one of them in this rectangle, we would get 162 of them, which are that many units squared. Now let's just remember this. This triangle right here is the same size as this triangle right here. So if we ignore this left part and we just look at this right part, this side is the same as this side. So this area here, how much of it is this triangle? It would be half of it. This would be half, and this would be half. Over here, remember, this pink triangle is the same size as this portion of the yellow triangle. This plus this would make this whole area over here. So how much is yellow of this? It would be half of this. So if we took it all together, the blue and the pink areas would be the same as all of the yellow. So if we figure out the area of our parallelogram, the whole area, which we did, was 162. we should be able to then figure out our area of our triangle by dividing that number by 2. So the area of our triangle is equal to the area of our parallelogram divided by 2. Or a simpler way, area of a parallelogram we knew was height times base, or base times height. So the area of a triangle, the formula to use is base times height, and then divide that by 2. Because we remember the yellow area here is the same as the white area. Here's an example. I've drawn a triangle here. I counted my squares across. There's 8 units across. And the height, remember the height will be the perpendicular line to the one that is along one of these grid lines. So it'd be this line here, and if we count, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. Okay, so 6 units and 8 units. Those are what we have. So let's draw this out organized. We're going to say our base is equal to 8 units. Our height is equal to 6 units. We know that area of a triangle is what we're going to try to figure out. Area of a triangle, it's a small triangle at the bottom right. That's what I'm writing here. If you want, you can just put area, is the base times the height divided by 2. So let's write this in. Area of a triangle is base, which is 8 units, times our height, which is 6 units, and divide by 2. So let's do the math. Area of a triangle is 8 times 6. 8 times 6 is 48 units squared. Still need to divide by 2. So area of a triangle is 48 divided by 2. That's 24 units squared. Here's another example. We've got a triangle. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units here. How many is this? It's kind of hard to tell. You can't really tell super easily because there's no grid line that this is on, neither is that one. So this one here would be our base. Why? Because it's on the grid line. And then you take from the point and go straight to your base so that there's a right angle there. And how many is it? It's 1, 2, 3. So that's 3 units. So our base is 5 units. Our height is 3 units. Area, we don't know, but we know area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. Area will be base, which is 5 units, times 3 units divided by 2. Area is 5 times 3, 15 units. Unit times unit is unit squared divided by 2. So our area is 15 divided by 2. I know that 14 divided by 2 is 7, and 1/2 of 1 is 0.5. So this would be 7.5 units squared. If we counted up these squares that are in here, there'd be 1, 2, 3, 4 whole squares. And then this plus that would be 5. This plus this would be 6. And there's these halves here. These are half squares. That'd be 7. And another half would be 7.5 squares. Now, what happens if you know the area, but you don't know the base and or you know the area and you know either the base or the height, but not the other? Well, there's some formulas that we can derive here and figure out. We're going to do the opposite of this divide by 2 would be to multiply 2 by both sides. And then we'll do the opposite of this multiplied by one of these, and it's going to be divide on that side. So if you don't know what the base is, let's say, that would be 2 times the area divided by the height. Or if you know the height but you don't know the base, you don't know the height but you know the base, it'd be 2 times your area of the triangle divided by base. So these are 2 other formulas that you could use if you don't know these other variables.